One major social challenge affecting development in Nigeria is the issue of millions of out-of-school children. Various interventions have been provided to take off these children off the street. Now, recent intervention by Global Partnership for Education at a summit in London, which President Muhammadu Buhari participated, promises millions of dollars grant to support the federal government in its quest to tackle this issue. Now, that will be our focus on Panorama today. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Ruth Aguela. All right, let's begin by telling you that Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo has described the micro, small and medium enterprises as the hope and future of the nation and advises states to join the federal government by giving maximum support to the businesses operating in their states in order to achieve the desired growth. State House correspondent Jide Olifade reports.
The federal government has always emphasized the place of small and medium-scale enterprises as the engine of growth. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo joins other participants at this inaugural lecture, says it is in recognition of the importance of the micro, small and medium enterprises that government is committed to giving necessary support in various forms to private business operators in Nigeria.
Development Bank has agreed to support the government with $500 million for small businesses in technology in particular. And so we think that this is something that will be very helpful indeed. And in addition to a $75 billion fund, which the federal government has set up also for young people and small businesses. We must keep working on small businesses because that certainly is the future of our country.
The growth of SMSEs is said to determine the development of countries, given the fact that critical mass of people in such countries are captured within this net. And the outcome of researches on small business operations in Nigeria, Professor Oluseyi Oduyoye, in his inaugural lecture says only a fraction of business ventures in Nigeria make it to the top and transform into big business.
SMEDA should be refurbished to do what it was meant to do by way of support to small businesses. Insurance in order to mitigate the losses of small businesses should be encouraged.
The event was the 33rd inaugural lecture of the Babcock University, titled From the Small Business to Big Business, a Future with Little Hope. From Ilishan in Ogun State, Jide Olifade, NTA News.
Nigeria is to benefit the sum of $105 million from Global Partnership for Education. It is expected to close rising number of out-of-school children in the country, while also boosting several safe school initiatives of the federal government amid rising kidnappings and banditry in most northern parts of the country. It will be noted that the Global Partnership for Education is the latest multilateral fund in education for developing countries. Some northern states like Kaduna, Katsina and Sokoto had initially accessed the grant, leading to increase in enrollment from 46% to 60%, in addition to delivering 20,000 female teachers specifically to increase college girls' access to education. Sequel to this, analysts have urged Nigerian authorities to ensure they position themselves to harvest the benefits of the summit and ensure education is lifted from the current challenge facing it. All right, let's bring in our guest, Dr. Dan Ekere, who is joining us from our Lagos Network Center to speak more on the grant and expected impacts, on Nigeria's education sector. He is a public affairs analyst and lecturer with the University of Lagos. Thank you very much, Dr. Ekere, for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here.
All right, now, this is a huge grant and a very big opportunity for Nigeria. Let's start with the areas you think this grant is going to really be needed in the sector.
Thank you so much for that point of takeoff. Now, the truth remains that practically every aspect of, Nigeria educational system needs, attention. Whether it is the primary, the post-primary, or the tertiary, They are all in need of, serious funding. Now, but what we must understand is that we need a solid foundation for the structure to be able to stand. And we equally need a good structure to reflect a foundation that has been created. Otherwise, if you create a solid foundation and there's no structure on it, it remains at foundation level. And that is why it will be important to ensure that every aspect of education is addressed, both the primary, post-primary, and the tertiary. But now, there are so many things even within that system. For instance, I know that in today's world, much emphasis is on science and technology, such that there might be the temptation of saying, okay, let's put everything to promote science and technology. But I equally do know that science and technology on its own does not solve any societal problem, because problems that emanate in society are more of human problems. And it is these human problems that create the major challenges for any society. Apart from issues like natural disasters and the rest, issue of corruption and all the other things we talk about are human problems. So you need a holistic approach to the human development. If you don't develop the human being comprehensively, you are likely going to have a challenge with society. That is why I would say that let's focus on all aspects. But importantly, the foundation is critical. At primary school, secondary school level, today we are having serious challenges. And when you talk about out-of-school children, you are not talking of university dropouts. So that sector needs serious attention so that we'll be able to create a foundation that will be able to take further in order to build a solid structure on that foundation.
Okay,
now,
Doctor.
When you rise above that level, you now go to the universities where you have challenges of infrastructure, challenges of laboratories, libraries, the human welfare aspect and all that. But I don't think this fund will be for human welfare. It should be practically about training and facilities.
Okay, Dr. Ekere, let me hold your thoughts there.
This fund
Dr. Ekere, let me hold your thoughts there. I'm sure you can hear me very clearly. Now, the goal is to take children, especially the ones out of school, off the street. We have seen interventions in the past, to improve education sector in the country. But what do you think will be done differently if we want to see the impact of this grant in the sector?
Thank you. Now, what I think should be done differently this time around is to ensure that we expand the scope to be able to bring in more of these children that are out of school by way of, assistance, to children and families, so that children will be able to go to school, then give them some incentives, particularly those areas where we have greater challenges, like in the northern part of the country, where you have different systems that have eventually made it somehow difficult for children to be in school. Today, even banditry and all the rest is becoming attractive because there are certain things that are attached to it. So we need to ensure that we do that which will capture the interests of children. One is that I recall that under Goodluck Jonathan's leadership, there was this Almajiri schools that were created. The idea was that, okay, we create these schools, we provide food, we provide this for children, for them to be attracted. The same thing can be improved upon. So that apart from the education being free, you equally create a scenario where, the interests of the children, the welfare, those things that attract them outside can be provided within. Food, today we hear of, a school feeding program, but I know that there are still a lot of areas that have not been covered by that program. So you can expand the scope to ensure that those children are attracted. Then on the in the southern part of Nigeria, you find children who are ready to go to school, but chances are that you don't even have resources. Parents don't have resources. You find parents who use children to do all manner of businesses, trading, and the rest that we call abuse. Although the word abuse might be something else, but you find children who are supposed to be in school who are doing businesses for their parents. We must create an enabling environment for these children to be back in school so that tomorrow they will become useful people to the society.
Okay, Dr. Ekere. Dr. Ekere, let's also look at, you talked about the foundation at the start of this conversation. What about monitoring and implementation, especially at the state and local government areas and levels, sorry? Let's look at monitoring and implementation, especially at the states and local government levels. At the states and local government levels. At the state.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the state and local government level is very important. Now, I recall that in the past there used to be, inspectorates arrangement where you find inspectors going to schools to see what is going on and check both teaching, environment, and everything about the schools. I doubt if that is still very much in practice today. Even if there is, perhaps the rate at which it is being done is very, very limited. That now places a lot of burden on a lot of challenge on the local government and states, because one is that funds have to be provided. After the funds are provided, there has to be, effective and judicious utilization of these funds. It's not enough to build structures. It's not enough to train teachers. It's not enough to provide facilities. Because they are humans who will manage the system. Who monitors these people? That is where the states and local governments come in. You don't expect the federal government to begin to do the day-to-day monitoring of these, areas we are talking about. So the states and local governments are very important. Now, but over time, there seems to be less interest in a lot of these things, because sometimes even the responsibility of local governments have been taken over by states. So I feel strongly that the time has come for each and every tier of government to live up to its responsibility. The challenge of inspection, the challenge of monitoring, the challenge of supervision must be effectively, addressed in order for us to see the benefits of these funds that will be coming in. Though it's huge, but looking at what is on ground, it will be, very little in terms of what it will do, but it will address a lot. So we must ensure that it is effectively monitored, effectively implemented, so that the productivity of this fund and the system will be such that will benefit the entire system, and that will have a better country tomorrow.
Okay, Dr. Ekere. Also, if we want to see productivity from the children, we should also be able to ensure that the capacity of the teachers are well in place. What about that aspect? What will be your final thoughts? I want you to answer that briefly, please.
I will be as brief as possible. One is that, you would have put in place facilities and the rest, and the children are there, but you equally need good heads to be able to prepare them. And that is where the area of training comes in. Because from time to time, there is a need for upgrade of, whatever level you are. So teachers need to be trained and retrained and retrained. So training is critical. I think the bottom line is training, training, and training, so that the teachers will be able to key into this project and ensure that we'll get the best of the system.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dan Ekere, for your time with us. We hope to see the best in our education sector. Thank you for your time.
So much.
All right, let's look at other issues. Collapse of building and public infrastructure has been a worrisome occurrence in Nigeria, but satisfactory answers to why this happens, what should be done to address such horrible tragedies, and efforts by regulatory bodies such as the Nigerian Society of Engineers to uphold standards of practice cannot be ignored. 100 upcoming engineers have been inducted to change the narrative, as Nigerians wait to see how they will affect new changes in the system. Let's hear more from Charles Afa.
Research has shown that the collapse of building and public infrastructure is not a new thing. Neither is it peculiar to Nigeria. It is a global thing and one of the causes of death annually. Code of ethics and acceptable standard of practice is said to be dropping, coupled with the challenges of adapting to cyber and digital technology for modern designs by engineers. Abreast of these challenges, the Nigerian Society of Engineers now wants to provide lasting solutions by encouraging its members to embrace innovations and expected roles in fast-emerging digital economy.
You cannot be talking of infrastructure without the involvement of engineers. So that is where these new, the new members, that is inductees, that is where they come in.
Lay down code of ethics and
100 upcoming engineers were inducted and charged to effect the changes needed.
Most of the projects that you heard about building collapse, most of them is not supervised by registered engineers. We call them quacks.
The inductees have been told what to do. We have a committee called Engineering Disciplinary Committee. We will be going around to inspect project in respect of the project, be it civil, electrical, mechanical, and so on and so forth.
They were told to identify new business opportunities, global threats, and save lives as well as fight quackery in the system. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Niger State government has confirmed the kidnap of its State Commissioner for Information and Strategies, Mohammed Sani Idris. A statement issued by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Mary Noel Berge, indicates that the commissioner was kidnapped by bandits at about 1 a.m. Monday morning at his country home in Bambuntunga in Tafa local government area of the state. The statement added that security operatives are already on the trail of the bandits with a view to apprehend them. You're watching Panorama. Let's go on a break. We're back. Welcome back. With vast human and natural resources in Nigeria, the country should not be struggling to cater for its citizens and develop a sustainable economy. Pledges at a prayer session on building a new and better Nigeria, organized by National Transformation Summit, believes the country is going through difficulties due to failure of many to appreciate and harness the potential. Joseph Otsen has more for us.
Nigeria is a country with much potential in every strata of development, but suffering from years of bad governance and negative impression brought upon it by mischief makers. At this prayer session, convener National Transformation Summit, Reverend Wale Babatunde, lead other clergies and the congregation to seek God's intervention against insecurity, COVID-19 scourge, and most importantly, bad elements doing everything to bring the country to its knees.
Nigerians have to change. You know, the truth of the matter is that there is no nation that you travel to in the world today that there are no negative things. There are bad people everywhere. And we must understand that there are good things also in Nigeria.
We must not pray in faith and speak in doubt. So it's important that we let our words correspond with our faith.
We've had a series of programs to ensure that Nigeria is lifted out of the position where it finds itself. But rather, what do we see? We find ourselves sinking further down. But that tells us one thing. As believers, the ones that have the government of this nation upon our shoulders, we know we have a responsibility.
With so much to reap from the country, the clergies emphasize patriotism and love for neighborhood, putting aside ethnic, political, and religious backgrounds as key to rebuilding a strong and progressive country. In Abuja, Joseph Utsen, NTA News.
Women from all walks of life, including the All Progressives Congress and different NGOs, that is non-governmental organizations, as well as support groups, are drumming support and appreciation and solidarity with Governor Ben Ayade for inclusion of women in his administration. Paul Abe reports that the women, led by the wife of the state governor, Dr. Linda Ayade, through major streets in Calabar to express their support.
Walking through the streets of Calabar with flags, alongside music, and finally terminating at the Millennium Park, women and girls believe that they have never had it so good with the series of women appointments into key positions. At the Millennium Park, one after the other, they speak on the qualities of Governor Ben Ayade and his achievements in agro-industrialization.
This is what keeps him awake at night. Sir, out of the 4 chairmen of local councils, 3 are women from the South.
In his response, Governor Ayade commended the women for their show of love and promised to financially sustain 1,000 women monthly, irrespective of tribe or religion.
Whatever Ayade says, I will give my right hand to all of it. Today, we will appoint on simple social welfare system. Give me from this crowd 1,000 women for 10,000 naira every month.
The theme of the event is Impact and Women Appreciation to the Governor. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
Relationship turns sour as a man in Akwa Ibom State has been alleged to be killed by his girlfriend in his matrimonial home. Clement Barikiu will tell us the story.
What has befallen Mr. Chikoka Henry, 36-year-old, became public when his brother, after several unsuccessful calls to him, decided to visit to know why he has not been picking his calls. Sadly, he met him in the pool of his blood in his bedroom. Chikoka Henry has been axed on the forehead and his black 4MATIC Mercedes-Benz car taken away. The brother quickly alerted the police, who swiftly responded. The vehicle was tracked to a hotel in Uyo, where the girlfriend, one Loretta, 28 years old, was apprehended. The sum of 2.9 million naira alleged to have been stolen from the late Chikoka was recovered. At the point of arrest, according to the police, the suspect was already processing change of ownership for the car.
Plus, at the time we apprehended her, she was making moves to convert the property to a personal use. She was making moves to have a license, she was with the originals of the vehicle, and the eagle eye of the operatives of the command led to her arrest.
The suspect, who resides in Abuja but usually visits Chikoka, whose wife and children are based in Aba, Abia State, admitted that they have dated for 3 years. She denied killing the deceased.
I wasn't actually taking the car away because I was going to come back.
So they caught on his head. Who did that?
I don't know, because I left him in the morning. He was okay.
Who then must have murdered Chikoka, since Loretta was the last person to have left the compound, according to the deceased gate man. This is the puzzle the police is working hard to solve.
The Commissioner of Police has ordered that the scope of the investigation be opened. We extend our dragnet to see if there are other collaborators. I can also say that we have one additional suspect we are looking at. There's a young man who spent the night with her after the day of the incident. We have him in custody.
For now, the corpse of Mr. Chikoka Henry, a businessman, has been deposited at the mortuary for autopsy, while other investigations continue.
The Imo State Police Command has restated its commitment to sustenance of peace and security in the state. The Commissioner of Police, Abutu Yaro, made this known while parading some suspected Eastern Security Network members allegedly behind the planned sit-at-home order in the state. Lorita Arinze Egwem reports.
As paraded, 29 in number, comprise males and females alleged to be members of the Eastern Security Network, ESN. According to the Commissioner of Police, Imo State Command, Abutu Yaro, the arrest of the suspects in their various camps across the state became possible through increased surveillance by officers of the command. While commending the Inspector General of Police, the Imo State government and other stakeholders for their contributions to the restoration of peace and security in the state, the Commissioner of Police urged residents to continue to go about their businesses without fear of molestation, as the police is fully on ground to ensure sustenance of law and order.
Imolites are enjoying and encouraged to come out and pursue their business. Persons who were determined to destabilize them have been intercepted. They are the ones here. So you can see this is the final liberation of Imo.
One of the suspects, who claimed to be a repentant member of the ESN, speak.
I was arrested in Olu police station. So I heard about ESM, unknown government. They have started again killing and cutting innocent souls. That is why I informed the police to volunteer myself to deal with them.
Items recovered from the suspects include Army and NYSC uniforms, arms and ammunitions, cutlasses, charms, among others. In Owerri, Lorita Arinze Egwem, NTA News.
Sport update is next.
Winners of the 2021 IT